You only want to chase the feeling again. Let's be friends. You only need what's best for you and not them. Don't pretend. Now I don't wanna lose sleep thinking about everything.
If you ever wanted to play Winston, now's the time to learn him. With all the changes in the live game and the changes coming in the next patch, Winston is going to be a very strong pick. To play Winston properly, it's all about game knowledge and game sense. I'm going to show you the basics of what I do when I play Winston, and hopefully it will help you out. Let's get started. So the first thing is how to use a shield properly. When you jump on someone, don't use your shield right away unless you're expecting something like a flashbang or a sleep dart. Instead, wait a second or two before dropping it. But once your shield is dropped, you should run to the edge of your shield right away. If enemies run into your shield to shoot you, just leave your shield. If they leave the shield to shoot you, go back into your shield. Rotate in and out. As Winston, you're going to be in a lot of 1v1 situations against other heroes. It's going to take some practice, but you need to learn which heroes you can win a 1v1 against. Okay, now something a little bit more complicated. How to dive properly as Winston. I have 3 rules for diving as Winston. If an enemy is perched up on high ground like a Soldier 76, a Widowmaker, or a Hanzo, as Winston, it's your job to get them off high ground. Always try to deal with enemies on high ground first as Winston. It will give your team a huge advantage. The second rule is how to engage an entire enemy team as Winston. So this is kind of risky, and you have to play this very well because Winston can't tank very long against an entire enemy team. You want to jump on as many people as possible and laser as many people as you can. Jump from a position where the enemy team can't see you, and this will make them have less reaction time to deal with you. Unless you have a Zarya on your team to shield you, drop your shield right away after you engage the enemy team. Your shield's going to break very quickly if it's tanking the entire enemy team. So while you're zapping, you should be positioning to hide around a corner or drop off a ledge when the enemy team breaks your shield. Rule number 3 of engaging with Winston is when you're jumping on the backline. Make sure you're jumping from a position where they can't see you. And only jump on the enemy backline heroes if your team's already engaged against the enemy team, or you tell your team you're diving deep and they're ready to follow you into combat right away. When you're looking for engagements, always take high ground when possible. You have a better view of the enemy and they can't see where you're coming from. When you're engaged on enemies, don't be scared to jump out if you're going to die. Your jump's only a 6-second cooldown. Either jump to your healer to heal you back up or jump to high ground. Also know where major health packs are because major health packs can heal you a lot as Winston. In teamfights, try to prioritize the healers first and then maybe the hit scans. If you try to kill their damage heroes first, there's a good chance you're just going to be out healed by the healers. Now, how do you use Winston's ult properly? There are 2 ways that I use Winston's ult. One is if you're in a position to push people off a map. You shouldn't be using his ult for this too often. The other way I use Winston's ult is just as a survivability tool. You want to stay in a teamfight for as long as you can, then when you're low health, use your ult. Do not use your ult during an allied Zarya ult. Winston does less damage in his ult than he does normally, so don't use his ult to do damage. You should mainly just be using it to stay in the fight for longer. Anyways, those are all the tips I have for you right now. Good luck with ranking up in competitive mode.